Lesson 4-3, Solving Quadratic Equations by Factoring, Part 2. Let's take a look at solving factoring when the coefficient of the x squared is something other than 1. Let's go ahead and go through the AC method again. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these two and we're going to multiply them. So that's going to be negative 30. And we're going to put this number underneath 13. And so what we're looking for is two numbers that multiply to give you negative 30 but add up to 13. So let's just try some numbers like negative 6 times positive 5. And you can see that that is not going to make a 13. So let's try, let's say negative 15 and positive 2. Now, negative 15 and positive 2 do make the negative 30, and when you add them up, they make they make a negative 13. So how about if we change it to 15 and negative 2? So we're going to cross these guys out. We don't want these. So let's take a look. These two multiply to be negative 30, and when you add them, they make positive 30. So we're going to rewrite 13x, and we're going to write it as plus 15x minus 2x minus 5. And now we're going to do some GCF for the first two terms. So that's going to be 3x, and then it'll be 2x plus 5. And notice that this has a common factor of negative 1. And if I take that out, I'm going to have this. Now I'm going to pull out the 2x plus 5. And then what I have left is a 3x minus 1. And this is what we call factored form. So this is our trinomial that has been factored. Okay, let's go ahead and continue to practice. We're going to factor and then we're going to solve. Okay, so let's go ahead and use the AC method again. Multiplying these two, that's 20, and they have to add up to 9. And this is a good one to use is 5 times 4. So now I'm going to say x squared plus 5x plus 4x plus 20 is equal to 0. X, and then this is x plus 5 plus 4 times x plus 5. And now we're going to factor out the x plus 5. We're going to have x plus 4 equal to 0. Now we're going to use the zero product property. And our answers are going to be negative 5 or negative 4. Now, if you do this AC method, you don't have to continue to work with a lot of factors. All of it is right here. Okay, let's go ahead and do this one. And again, I'm going to use the AC method. I'm going to multiply these two, and that's a big number. It's 120. And then this one is negative 23. Okay, and so I need to figure out two numbers that multiply to equal a positive number, but add up to a negative number. So I'm either going to have two positive numbers or two negative numbers. And they're really giving us a hint right here. The two negative numbers are negative 8 and negative 15. When you multiply those two, we do get the 120. And when you add them, you get the negative 123. Okay, so we're going to write 6y squared, and we're going to replace the negative 23 with negative 8y minus 15y and plus 20 is equal to 0. Now factor by grouping, that's going to be 2y. Now we'll have a 3y minus 4. And then I want to factor out a negative 3 out of, or negative 5, sorry, negative 5, and then that'll be positive 3y minus 4. I want to ensure that I have the same factor here and here. 3y minus 4, and then this will be 2y minus 5 equal to 0. Set each one equal to 0. And we're going to have 3y is equal to 4, or y is equal to 4/3. 2y is equal to 5, or y is equal to 5/2. Okay, your turn. Go ahead and stop the screencast. And no, this is the time I do it with you. So AC method, multiply these two, that's 15. and we got to make a negative 8. So these two have to multiply to be a positive but add up to a negative. So I know my factors are going to be two negative numbers, and that'll be negative 5 and negative 3. Those will multiply to be that and add up to that. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite negative 8. So it's 15x squared minus 5x minus 3x plus 1 is equal to 0. Common factor. And then factor out a negative 1. Okay, and then our common factor is 3x minus 1, 5x minus 1, set each equal to 0. Okay, we're going to do it here. You can do it this way, or if you want to move everything to the other side and then this term becomes positive, I like to do that. So I moved everything, so now this portion is positive. I notice there's no greatest common factors. I'm going to use the AC method. And 12 times 15 is 60, 180. And I want to add up to negative 8. Okay, and so now I know that this is 20 times 6. I also know, so I know 20 and 6, and I don't think that's going to work. I know there's an 18 and 10. 18 and 10 look like good candidates. Now I just got to figure out 18 times 10, and I got to make a negative. Oh, this should have been a negative number. So I know these have to multiply to be negative but add up to this. So I want this to be the negative right here. So these two multiply to be this, and they add up to this. So now I'm going to rewrite 12. I'm going to rewrite the negative 8x to negative 18x plus 10x minus 15. And I think I can get a 6 out of here and an x. So this will be 2x minus 3. And I can take out a 5 here. And this will be 2x minus 3. So then this is going to be 6x plus 5 multiplying to 2x minus 3, set them both equal to 0. And we get 6x equal to negative 5, x is equal to negative 5, 6, 2x is equal to 3, and x is equal to 3 over 2. Your turn. Stop the screencast. And here are the answers. Stop the screencast, try again. This time you're only going to factor. And here's the answer. Last problem, we're going to solve this height problem. We want to find out how long this is in the air. And so what we want to do is we want to find when the heights are 0. So we want to find when the height is 0. And when we find when the height is 0, that'll tell us how long it was in the air. Okay, so we're going to multiply these two, and that's negative 80, and it has to add up to this one. So I can tell that I'm going to have to use the number 80 and 1, and I'm going to want a positive number, so I'm going to have to make that the negative. So now this is going to be negative 16t squared plus 80t minus t plus 5 is equal to 0. We can grab a negative 16 out, 16t, and that'll be t minus 5, and then we can factor out a negative 1, t minus 5 equals 0. So this is going to be negative 16t minus 1 times t minus 5 is equal to 0. Set each one equal to 0, and we'll get that's going to be positive. T is equal to negative 1/16, and t is equal to 5. Now time in a negative time is not any good, so t equal to 5 tells us that this will be in the air for 5 seconds. Okay, pause, and here's the answer.